Howdy! Welcome to the Silksong Hitboxes analysis series. Today, we're gonna look at Act 3 bosses of the game and thoroughly analyze how their hitboxes are made. And let me tell you straight away that most of them are pretty complex and works perfect. Perfect down to the last minute details. I guess at this point Team Cherry had a lot of experience making previous bosses, thus Act 3 bosses are peak in my opinion. And as you know, for this video to be possible, I had to write my own mod for the game, and in case you want to check it out yourself, I'll leave a link in the description below. With that being said, let's get started. Probably the very first Act 3 boss you will encounter is the Bell Eater. Honestly, it's more like a remaster of Bell Beast boss fight if you ask me. I mean, you still get tons of bells bouncing all over the arena and it also uses a similar attack patterns. But what actually makes it different is the colliders. They are now much more complex. Two huge damage colliders called Centipede Coil traps the player in a narrow space. The boss himself though has a pretty small body hitbox with an additional rectangular hitbox for the head part. And one of his attacks is when the Bell Eater makes a huge convex damage collider with his claws. And as you can see, the size of the collider are actually bigger than it should be. Funny thing, when he starts to throw bombs at you, he does this with an object that literally called Giant Centipede Butt. Another attack he performs is when the Bell Eater dashes through the arena alongside the multiple convex colliders. However, they are not fully animated and instead they are just moves up and down. Now in the end, the Bell Beast appears making a final blow. At this point it seems like it makes an actual damage to the Bell Eater, however there are no colliders at all. It means that's just an animation. Although I would not be surprised if it was a real attack with a real damage. Team Cherry are infamous for making a tiny unnoticeable details in their games. Next Act 3 boss is a lost Garmond. Once again, it's more like a remaster of the previous duel fight. But now he can shoot projectiles towards the ceiling and also has a similar nasty downwards jump attack, following with a 4 black globs sprayed out that turns into a razor sharp afterwards. Pretty much the same we've seen in a secret boss fight in the previous video. Lost Garmond also swings his swords the similar way he did on the duel, and yes, you still can parry those. Before Crawfather boss appears, you need to deal with his goons first. And just like with the disgraced Chief Legoli, these enemies are visible in the background and they has an actual hitbox, inactive though. It means those are not just animated textures, but real mobs. The Crawfather himself though is a pretty straightforward boss fight. Surprisingly, when he smashes the floor with the beak, it doesn't produce any damage colliders at all. I even had to double check it. Turns out it's just a scary animation. Or maybe Team Cherry just forgot to turn it on. One more interesting attack of Crawfather is called a chain punishment. He charges up before leaping into the air and sends in 6 chains in all directions. You might expect them to have a multiple circular damage colliders, but they are just plain rectangles. Plasmified Zango, if I pronounce that right, is one of the simplest boss fights in the game, in terms of hitboxes of course. I mean, all he does is just wander from side to side within the arena with a pretty big body hitbox, and constantly shoots out globs of plasma, each having a small rectangle damage collider. Upon touching anything, they also explode with an animated circular damage collider. That's a classical explosion. He can also sprint or crawl, whatever that is, and while he does that, his body hitbox changes respectively. And that's pretty much it, nothing more to this fight. Watcher at the edge has a pretty simple attack patterns with his sword, although most of them consist of a properly animated colliders. And I guess his most devastating attack is a leaping sword slash, which kicks up sand and then goes into a downward slash. As you can clearly see, the sand has an animated convex damage collider as well, so beware of that. However, my favorite thing about this boss fight is the overall simplicity combined with the precise movement and the proper colliders. This is, in my opinion, is by far one of the most fair boss fights in the whole game. Palestag is more like a mini-boss. Literally the only way he damages you is with the projectiles he constantly spawns, aside from his body collider contact damage that is. And as you can see, those projectiles has a pretty big convex damage colliders, which makes it even more difficult to evade them. Next up we got a remaster of Clover Dancers. but now with a Clover Dancers boss fight, and they have a similar gimmick. However, this time one of them is ghostly and can't be harmed, although as you can see it does has a hitbox attached to it, but it's just an inactive one. As for the attacks, most of them are similar to Clover Dancers, with a few exceptions though, and a bit different colliders. Every now and then, both Clover Dancers will come together in the center of the arena to unleash a vortex that moves either clockwise or counterclockwise, and not gonna lie, I was expecting a plain rectangular collider here, but as you see it has a properly animated convex damage collider. Also, when the dancers perform a chaotic attack from different angles, this time their hitboxes are pretty thick. You can even compare those with the same attack of Clover Dancers, and you can clearly see the difference even with the naked eye. Aside from that, it's pretty much the same boss fight. Now, Gurr the Outcast is an interesting one. This guy likes traps and commences the fight by ensnaring you in one. And as you see, it has 3 visible hitboxes that you can hit in order to break free. The boss himself has a pretty big rectangular body hitbox. And what makes this fight special is a lot of traps. For example, the airborne spikes. Each one will expand after a brief period of time, spawning a huge damage collider, 2 of them to be precise. One is the convex collider of an expanded trap, and the second one appears only for a brief moment when the spike trap expands. It's like an explosion collider. They can also easily overlap, making it even harder to evade. Guess what? Our little flamboyant fella is back. Tormented Trobbio is one more remaster of a previous boss fight, and this time he's going to fill the stage with more smoke and mirrors than ever. And just like before, he makes an explosion with the proper sphere collider when he shows up. Soon after, once again he starts to toss out balls that bounce across the stage and makes a cross-shaped smoke streams, but they are now has an additional damage collider, and apparently they also can be rotated in a variety of ways. One more new type of attack in this fight is when Tormented Trobbio levitate in the air and shoot out lines that either appear in a cross or X shape, and those has like a huge convex damage collider. Think of it as a Dazzle Flash double the size. Surprisingly, the final blow of this boss does not have a damage collider. As far as I know, Pinstress is one of 2 bosses in this game that has an X-shaped attack collider that reminds me of an Xbox logo. The other one is of course a second Sentinel. Pinstress has a quite simple attack patterns with an accurate and easy to evade damage colliders. She or he, whatever that thing is, also has a pretty big body hitbox. And of course, in a different animation frames, the body hitboxes resizes properly to fit the texture. The needles they throw are also have like a small yet accurate rectangle damage collider. Overall, I would say that I like this fight. Okay, Shrine Guardian Seth is definitely one of the most interesting boss fights in the whole game. Not only it's kinda tricky to get to this boss, but he also uses a pretty unique attack patterns that are designed to disrupt Hornet's aerial combat techniques. Seth teleports through the air and performs slam AoE attacks with a huge sphere damage collider. He also chucks his shield like Captain America, making it bounce off the ground in degrees that makes it harder to evade. And just like you would expect, the shield has a full-size sphere damage collider. His sword attacks are also fully animated and involves moves that reminds me of Lace in some way. Seth's second phase begins with a 3 fast AoE slams from the air, followed by a lunge on the ground. He can also defensively jump back while hitting you with a pretty big rotating sword attack, and that has a huge convex attack collider, so beware of that. Overall, I would call this boss fight a true masterpiece and a great example of how a boss fight should be designed. There are 3 annoying types of bosses in Silksong. One that relies on the huge size, one that relies on spamming the projectiles, and one that makes it hard to fight because of the design of the boss arena. Well, Nyleth is a conjunction of every annoying boss type in this game. It has a huge body hitbox, it constantly throws projectiles at you, and the arena makes you stay mid-air most of the time. She also happens to have one of the largest AoE circular damage colliders colliders in the whole game, that literally covers almost all of the screen. The projectile she throws at you though has a pretty small rectangle damage collider, and one more attack she makes is when 3 turn balls bounce up from the floor. Those have like a sphere attack colliders. And I would say Nyleth is easily the most annoying boss fight in this game. It's not that hard, but it's annoying to deal with. Scarrsinger Karmelita is one of the most favorite bosses of many players in Silksong, and you can easily tell why. Not only the arena and the music are so satisfying, but the boss is also pretty complicated and interesting to fight with. Karmelita mainly attacks by swinging a pair of chakrams and tossing them in your direction. They has a proper sized convex damage colliders. She can also jump back, and surprisingly, that's not just a jump, but one of your attacks, as she makes a pretty big sphere damage collider while midair. Of course, she can also melee you, but take my advice, evade that attacks at all costs, because while she spins with the chakrams, it produces a huge white convex attack collider. Another interesting attack of Karmelita is when she jumps and spins midair with the chakrams, eventually slamming the ground. Just like you would expect, while she's midair, it makes an even bigger sphere damage collider. Upon landing, she amping up her floor spikes and making them travel the entire length of the arena. This time, each spike has its own convex damage collider though. Not only it looks cool, but also works absolutely perfect in terms of colliders. And probably one more melee attack that you should evade consists of 3 moves, each provided with a static convex attack collider. Those are not animated but still pretty accurate. Overall, I would say this is by far one of the most beautiful and creative boss fights, and once again, the music is grand. Crust King Han is a pretty simple boss in terms of colliders. However, the fight itself is kinda fun. Well, aside from the rubbish series of gauntlets you had to survive in order to reach him. His main attack is when Crust summons a huge tourney stalactites and stalagmites to pierce you. And as you would expect, those has like a huge convex damage collider, pretty accurate as well. Funny thing though, the boss changes his body hitbox to match the animation frame. I guess that's made for you to land a hit, as he can stand for quite a while in the single pose. And finally, we got Lost Lace, pretty much a true final boss of the whole game. And just as you expect, this is once more a remaster of 2 previous Lace boss fights. By far, I would say that Lace is the most complex boss in Silksong. The reason is you face her 3 times, and each fight adds some new moves. Well, this fight is not an exception. Lace, or should I say Lost Lace, will have mostly all of her previous moves, alongside a bunch of new ones, as she's now been possessed by the Void. Okay, first of all, beware the Void tentacles that emerge from her arm. It has a really huge range, as you can see. What makes this fight even more fun is that it has a total of 3 phases, each one revealing an additional attack patterns. In the second phase, Lost Lace begins summoning Void tentacles from the ground. Make sure to evade them as well, as they have a really huge convex damage collider. She can also hop into the air and spew Void blobs that turns into razor blades upon landing, alongside a huge circle damage colliders. Man, just look how good I am at avoiding all those projectiles. Dang, forget about it. And yeah, you guessed it right, contact damage will be your main threat in this boss fight. Now, at the third phase, she'll also let out a terrific strike and cause a tidal wave of void spikes to surge across the floor. Those has a huge convex damage collider covering almost half of the screen, just like you'd expect. Finally, Lost Lace will summon exploding sparkles of light across the arena, an attack you should be already familiar with based on your previous experience with Lace. However, this time it's a bit different, because they have a bigger time window and will not disappear as fast as before, so keep that in mind. Another interesting attack is when she jumps and then stomps the ground. Surprisingly, it doesn't spawn any of the damage colliders at all, only the tentacles rise from the ground afterwards will have damage colliders. Lost Lace is a truly devastating boss. However, the fight is more than possible if you get used to patterns and manage to evade her constant teleporting, as well as tons of contact damage colliders. I wish you best of luck with this fight. And with the final Act 3 boss, it wraps our video today. I hope you enjoyed it, because I did for sure. Let me tell you, Act 3 bosses feels like a real challenge, but a fair one, because there are lots of remastered boss fights that lets you to apply your previous experience. Anyways, stay tuned, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll also release a compilation of all 3 acts bosses in one video with the addition of Crest colliders and things like that. Also, make sure to write down your opinion in the comments. Do you think the hitboxes are fair, or maybe they should be different? Thanks for watching.